It's happening again. I'm getting excited about a Nintendo console.
So, Jason, you're a Kyle Bossman enjoyer.
I am, yeah.
Did you catch his latest video on Kyle Bossman's Last Chance Switch 2 expectations?
You know, as always with him, as always, entertaining takes, you know. He has some good ones.
He does. I have followed him since the Game Trailers days. I've watched the final Bossman back in the day. I watched him at Easy Allies. I waited until he came with his channel after he took a break after he left Easy Allies.
You watched all of Box Peak?
I did. I watched all of Box Peak. Box Peak was peak.
It was.
It was actually amazing. I love
it's
Box
great.
Peak.
Yeah,
it's such a good show.
It's good as hell.
But yeah, his humor has always been really good to me. I like his sense of humor, and I like that he tries to approach gaming news from like a fun angle. Yeah. But I thought it would be fun if we went through. He's got 5 of these last chance Switch 2 expectations. If we ranked the likelihood of like them coming true, or how strongly we agree with them, starting with 1, which is, I think third-party games will have a Switch 2 look.
Well, starting off, would you agree that third-party games now have a certain look on Switch 1?
Yes.
Yeah, same. They do.
Yeah. This is a guarantee. This is the most guaranteed. He said in the video, they're not predictions, but of course, like you can already see it with Elden Ring on Switch 2. Like I can tell it's the Switch 2 version of Elden Ring. You know what I mean?
I think 4 out of 5 of these I am in the very likely, and yes, that's a great take.
Yeah, he did call them expectations, not predictions, because it's like they're less glamorous.
I would say that only one of them I don't expect.
Really? Well, we'll take it one at a time.
Okay.
So we're both that's an easy W for Kyle here. Yeah. Number 2 is game chat doesn't last, but Nintendo Switch Online thrives. And what he means by that is eventually there's going to be some game like F-099 that pulls you in and makes you have to subscribe. But game chat kind of fades into the background and people don't care about it. And it's just something they talk about at launch, like 3D Rumble.
Obviously, this is what's going to happen.
So, this is like, I'm in the agree, but like if 5 is I'm neutral and 10 is like strongly agree and 1 is like strongly disagree, I'm at like a 6.
I'm probably at like a 9.5.
I think game chat is still going to be relevant, and I even think that they're going to try and introduce a little something extra on top of it after it's been going for like a year or 2.
I just think it's passé. Like, you play Xbox now, and nobody's fucking talking on that.
I think Nintendo is different. I think it's you can't compare online chatting. I think Nintendo chatters in general are like less technically proficient than your typical PS. I'm not saying that as a dig. It's just how I feel. Like, I didn't expect Nintendo Switch online chat on their app to be as popular as it was. When I started playing Mario Kart consistently, how many people I met through that. I think, so here's a question. I don't remember, this works with just your regular Nintendo Switch Online, right? You don't have to have the expansion pass?
Oh, there's no way. It's just got to be a regular thing. They wouldn't be hyping it up this much if it was an expansion.
I think since most people already have it, you know what? Actually, I'm leaning into I'm at a 4 now. I think I'm talking myself into this. I think game chat is going to be a bigger hit than people expect. I really do. I think it's also nice that they make it so that you don't have to have any peripherals. Like, you don't have to have a microphone. You don't have to have a gaming headset. It just works. Supposedly, right? Like, I believe that it will work maybe 5 out of 10. But if it does work, I think it might be a more elegant solution. But you still can use headphones and stuff.
It depends what you mean by like fades away. Like, I don't think they're going to take the functionality out, but I don't think it's going to be a social phenomenon that people are talking to each other on the Switch too.
No. I think that people aren't going to be hating on it as much because they're going to find that it is actually useful, is my prediction. I don't think that it's going to I think they won't need to keep talking about it so much. This is kind of a weird expectation, though. It's kind of phrased oddly. Now, on the likelihood of a Nintendo Switch Online game coming out that just everyone feels like they need to play it, I actually think that's rather unlikely. I kind of don't expect that.
I think Game Chat's going to fade away in the sense that nobody is going to talk about it.
I could agree with that. But I think it's going to be a more positive thing. Like, no one's going to talk about it, but people are still going to be using it, and more people are going to be using it. I think it's going to kind of seamlessly integrate itself into it. Will people be using the camera? No, that's gone. That's faded. No one's going to be using the camera.
It's already gone. Like, who cares?
Yeah, no one wants that shit. All right, let's move on to the next one. 3. Switch 2 finds its vibe in 2026.
Well, you would probably argue that it's already got one.
Yeah, no, it has a bit of a vibe already, but I think I agree with what Kyle says here. Like, I think I would word it as it hits its stride in 2026.
I mean, that's a pretty innocuous prediction. You could say that about any system. Like, this year 2, yeah, you're hitting the stride.
Yeah, and again, like, these are supposed to be likely. Because they're expectations, right?
But what he said about it, like, he echoed my complaints that the system doesn't have an identity right now. It's literally just more Switch. And year 2 is when it's going to start to find its own thing.
Well, it's kind of, when you phrase it like that, it's kind of hard to imagine that it's going to have some unique, untold potential that will somehow be unlocked in 2026.
Once it gets more unique games to itself, it's going to have its own vibe.
Yeah.
I just think it's going to come through the games. Because right now, it's like, as far as like Switch 2 only experiences, you just got Mario Kart right now.
And DK, like, within a month.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be out in a couple months. But
really, my question is still, what the hell is coming in the holiday season? And have they tucked away more big surprises? I sure hope so. Because that's an expectation for me.
Yeah.
But not in the same sense that he's using the word expectation, in the sense that if that doesn't happen, I'm disappointed expectation. Yeah. I guess let's move on. This one is the spiciest take, number 4.
You think this is spicy?
I do. Drag X Drive disappears unceremoniously, as in doesn't come out.
Is this a wish, or is this something we expect?
This is his expectation that it's going to get Project Giant roboted.
The difference between this and Project Giant Robot is they never said that was a game. They were just like, here, there's this weird thing we're working on. If you remember, they were never like Project Giant Robot coming next year. They never said anything like that.
That's true.
But for this, they're actively saying it's coming, like it's gonna come out this year.
Yeah, I believe this will come out. This is coming out. They've shown too much stuff.
It is going to be dead on arrival, but I agree. I think it will come out.
No one's gonna play it, and it's yeah. It's sad to think about that game, man.
It looks atrocious.
Just
obviously.
Visually, like, could something like that be fun? Yes, but
I will say that if it disappeared unceremoniously, nobody would care. There would be teenagers making ironic memes about it, but that's it.
I would be making ironic memes about it.
Yeah, exactly.
I would be like, literally, this would have saved the Switch too.
Yeah. But like, deep down in the cockles of their heart, nobody would care.
Yeah. All
like,
right.
Ricky Berwick isn't real. Like, even he's dunking on it. Isn't this game for him? And he's like...
Yeah, he was dunking on it, man. Yeah, he was like, finally a game for me. No. What's funny is I remember even in the treehouse, he's like, yeah, if you roll up the half pipe, you can do a dunk. The half pipe. And he messed it up like 2 times, then finally got it or something. It's just like, it doesn't look very easy to control, does it? And they're encouraging people to play with the mouse functionality on their thighs, like on their jeans, like not even at a desk. Because that was your thing. You're like, you're going to have to use a desk to play this game. They're like, no, it's cool, bro. You can just use your jeans and pants. Come on. You're right. No one would miss this.
What if I'm sitting in my underwear? How am I supposed to play this stupid game?
On your hairy legs.
Oh my god, no.
Yeah.
No.
We should do a test. We should do a test when the Switch 2 comes out. We should get Drag X Drive. We should stream us in our underwear trying to...
What surfaces can you play this on?
Yeah. What surfaces... That's actually titled that way. I would click that video. That's a good idea. What surfaces can you play Drag X Drive on?
Oh my god.
That should be like a full Jason Graves channel video.
Why is it called Drag X Drive? They're playing wheelchair basketball.
It's a bad because I guess you're dragging the joy. It's bad. It's a bad title.
It makes it sound like a racing game. Like that's not what it is.
Doesn't it sound like a racing game?
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah. All right. Well, I think so that we disagree with him there. It's not going away though.
Yeah, that's the one that
Yeah. So I guess that means you agree with 5. 0 big new franchises for the entire console's lifetime.
I don't know if I would go as far. I would call this a prediction more than an expectation, but
Yeah, it does kind of break his own rules a little bit. This feels like a prediction, not an expectation.
Would you say that we got a new big franchise for the Switch?
No. ARMS failed.
I was going to say ARMS doesn't count. Yeah.
Yeah. If anything, the closest to it would be the 99 style of game, but that's not a real franchise.
That doesn't count, yeah.
Now, Wii U, we got Splatoon. Iconic.
Yeah, of course, of course.
Now, one thing we know of that's coming is a new IP from Monolith Soft. And as far as like things we know are guaranteed, that's the closest thing that would come, but I don't think it would be iconic enough to be like an actual big new franchise. I don't think that Monolith has that in them.
Yeah,
really.
that's what I'm saying is Monolith is a decent deal, but it's not like a huge deal.
Yeah.
It's not like, yeah.
I believe that Nintendo are going to try and launch a new franchise for this. I don't know if it'll succeed. I really believe they will. I mean, they have for just about every system that they've ever done. I think you have to try. You have to try and expand it.
I think it depends on how pedantic you want to be with this, because if it's like they make a Box Boy equivalent, like that level IP, then
Like I would say the level of IP I'm expecting is ARMS level, at least in effort.
They're gonna try and push something new, you think?
Like if we go back to the 3DS, I think they tried something new with Dylan's Rolling Western, and it didn't work, and
that doesn't count. That doesn't.
I think it's a nice test.
That doesn't even have a physical release, right? So that doesn't count.
It doesn't.
Yeah,
Rusty,
that's not.
Rusty of Rusty's Real Deal Baseball.
That was their big push. The Rusty's Real Deal Baseball.
Rusty. Yeah. But yeah, no, I think that was a handheld though. But that's the thing, yeah. No. I think they're kind of stagnant, and I think as a company, they kind of need a new IP.
I think the word big does a lot of heavy lifting here, because we both agreed that despite Nintendo's best efforts, ARMS was not big.
It was not big.
So Nintendo is not necessarily the kingmakers here. They can try and make a new big IP. It doesn't mean that they will.
I agree.
So I feel like we're going to come out of the Switch 2 generation, and we're going to say, you know what? Maybe they tried one or two things to push them, and it didn't quite reach the levels of a big new franchise. Like,
I'll stake it here that I think that we will get a big new franchise.
Okay.
And I think actually ARMS is part of that puzzle. I think when you try and launch a new franchise and it doesn't work, you learn. Just like when you launch a franchise like Splatoon and it does work, you learn. And I think that Nintendo really do have a pattern of going in and out, both with their consoles being successes and flops, and with tries at IPs, and even within series. So they have this kind of. I think they're due for a hit, honestly.
Okay. I mean,
obviously, it might come from the Switch 2 failing. The Switch 2 maybe won't be doing as good, and then they put everything into this new IP. Maybe it does good, maybe it doesn't. I mean, Splatoon was a success despite the Wii U.
Yeah.
So.
But it was an even bigger success on the Switch.
It was much bigger. And I think Splatoon 3 was the most successful, at least according to Cecily.
Interesting. In terms of just raw...
Yeah.
In terms of just raw sales, I suppose that makes sense. Just because when Splatoon 2 came out, there weren't as many Switches in the wild. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. Yeah.
There were probably only about 10 to 15 million sold at that point, where at this point we're over 100 when Switch 3 came, or Splatoon 3 came out.
Yeah, I agree with you. Splatoon 2 is the more important game.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I would say like percentage of like Switch owners who got Splatoon 2 was higher, but in terms of raw numbers, 3 probably did sell more. Yeah. Without looking at them right now. I don't know.
Make sure you add a honk into this edit, by the way.
Oh, yeah, like the Kyle Bossman horn.
Yeah. Well, it was fun. I think overall we pretty much agree, though.
Yeah, I like his takes. They're good.
I mostly agree with him. I just am trying to find some wiggle room in some of them. But, yeah.
No, this was a good video. I liked how you wanted to spotlight this one.
Yeah, I love his videos. Kyle, I know you're watching. We're big fans. You want to come on the show?
Kyle doesn't fucking watch YouTube. Like, that's not a thing he does.
Oh, you're right. He just streams.
Yeah.
Oh. All right. Well, shout out to Pedantic.
Like and subscribe, everybody.
See you later.